Speaking about democratic transitions and counterterrorism, I thought it would be valuable to look at a case study from outside the Middle East, from South Asia. And in fact, I'd like to offer the case study of Bangladesh for consideration. As a Muslim-majority state that has spent the better part of 4 decades grappling with the challenges of consolidating democracy and finding the right place for religion in politics, society, and more specifically the role of Islamists in a pluralist democratic society, Bangladesh provides an informative, if not instructive, case study for countries currently experiencing the effects of the Arab Spring. In many cases, in many ways, democracy in Bangladesh has created an inhospitable environment for militancy and for terrorism. Democracy in Bangladesh has created a pressure valve for citizens to air their grievances and strengthen the state-society relationship by increasing sort of the accountability and transparency of the government, or at least the expectation that it will be both accountable and transparent, and that a failure to be such will be felt at the ballot booth. Democracy has also promoted pluralist politics so that many diverse ethnic backgrounds and religions and beliefs can be at the political table. And it has also promoted a vibrant media and civil society that has pushed agendas to promote greater transparency, human rights, civil liberties, the empowerment and education of women and development. And in fact, Bangladesh has witnessed fairly impressive economic growth at times of 6 to 7% despite internal political challenges. Democracy has also played an important role in helping Bangladeshis balance a national identity that is based very strongly on Bengali culture as well as on religious practice. And I think this balance has really helped shape a sort of reluctance to engage in very rigid theocratic government. However, when we think about the Arab Spring, it is largely about democratic transition with sort of a capital D and a capital T, whereas in fact democracy mandates a regular transfer of power, or democratic transitions with, I would say, a small d and a small t. And it is this practice of regular democracy in Bangladesh that has at times proved challenging. It's proved challenging even when the transfer of power has been between elected parties. In some ways, a violent political culture in which political rivalries are settled through violence, and sort of the use of violence to achieve political change has been fairly problematic. The bureaucracy of state has been intensely politicized, and professional advancement is often closely associated with political alliances or patronage. Corruption has been very endemic, and Bangladesh has consistently ranked low on Transparency International indexes. What does all of this have to do with creating an enabling environment for terrorism? Well, it creates a sort of disillusionment with democracy and makes alternative political narratives, such as those proposed by Islamists, or more worryingly by militant groups, more compelling. It has also created a space for the use of violence to settle political differences and a cultural violence that promotes sort of an intolerance for political diversity. And it also circumscribes the space for civil liberties, for minorities, and threatens sort of human rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. What this case study really sort of indicates is that in many ways the positives of creating a pluralist democratic society, while they are very important and this democratic transition has allowed these to take hold, what is problematic is that when government and governance is not democratic, when there are inherent challenges in the democracy that create a space for expectations to be disappointed, that create disillusionment, that break the trust of the citizenry and the government, that these kind of problems create a more worrying space for militants or competing political narratives to take hold, which may circumscribe civil liberties, human rights, political pluralism, and a number of other things that help deprive militant and terrorist groups of the necessary oxygen.